Tupac Amaru Shakur, born Laisane Parish Crooks, June 16, 1971 to September 13, 1996, also known by his stage names Tupac and Machiavelli, was an American rapper and actor. He is widely regarded as one of the greatest rappers of all time, one of the most influential musical artists of the 20th century, and a prominent political activist for Black America. He is among the best-selling music artists, having sold more than 75 million records worldwide. Some of Shakur's music addressed social injustice, political issues, and the marginalization of African Americans, but he was also synonymous with gangsta rap and violent lyrics. Tupac Amaru Shakur was born on June 16, 1971, in East Harlem, Manhattan, New York City, to Afeni Shakur and Billy Garland. Born Laisane Parish Crooks, at age 1 he was renamed Tupac Amaru Shakur. He was named after Tupac Amaru II, a descendant of the last Inca ruler, who was executed in Peru in 1781 after his revolt against Spanish rule. Shakur's mother Afeni Shakur explained, "I wanted him to have the name of revolutionary, indigenous people in the world. I wanted him to know he was part of a world culture and not just from a neighborhood." Tupac's surname came from Lumumba Shakur, a Sunni Muslim, whom his mother married in November 1968. Their marriage fell apart when it was discovered that Lumumba was not Tupac's biological father. Shakur's parents, Afeni Shakur, born Alice Faye Williams, January 10, 1947 to May 2, 2016, in North Carolina, and his biological father, William Billy Garland, born March 14, 1949, had been active Black Panther Party members in New York in the late 1960s and early 1970s. A month before Shakur's birth, his mother was tried in New York City as part of the Panther 21 criminal trial. She was acquitted of over 150 charges. Other family members who were involved in the Black Panthers' Black Liberation Army were convicted of serious crimes and imprisoned, including Shakur's stepfather, Mutula Shakur, who spent 4 years as one of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitives. Mutula was apprehended in 1986 and subsequently convicted for a 1981 robbery of a Brinks armored truck, during which police officers and a guard were killed. Shakur's godfather, Elmer Geronimo Pratt, a high-ranking Black Panther, was wrongly convicted of murdering a schoolteacher during a 1968 robbery. After he spent 27 years in prison, his conviction was overturned due to the prosecutions having concealed evidence that proved his innocence. Shakur's godmother, Assata Shakur, was a former member of the Black Liberation Army who was convicted in 1977 of the first-degree murder of a New Jersey state trooper. She escaped from prison in 1979 and was on the FBI Most Wanted Terrorists list in 2013, and would remain on the list up until her death in 2025. In the 1980s, Shakur's mother found it difficult to find work and struggled with drug addiction. In 1984, his family moved from New York City to Baltimore, Maryland. Beginning in 1984, when Shakur was 13, he lived in the Penn Lucy neighborhood with his mother and younger sister at 3955 Greenmount Avenue. The home was a 2-story row house that had been subdivided into 2 separate rental units. The Shakur family lived on the first floor. After his death, the block was renamed Tupac Shakur Way. While living in Baltimore, Shakur attended 8th grade at Roland Park Middle School, then 9th grade at Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. He transferred to the Baltimore School for the Arts in the 10th grade, where he studied acting, poetry, jazz, and ballet. He performed in Shakespeare plays, the themes of which he identified in patterns of gang warfare, and as the Mouse King in the Nutcracker Ballet. At the Baltimore School for the Arts, Shakur befriended actress Jada Pinkett, who became the subject of some of his poems, Jada, and The Tears in Cupid's Eyes. With his friend Dana Mouse Smith as a beatbox, he won competitions for the school's best rapper. Known for his humor, he was popular with all crowds of students. He listened to a diverse range of music that included Kate Bush, Culture Club, Sinead O'Connor, and U2. Upon connecting with the Baltimore Young Communist League USA, Shakur dated Mary Baldridge, who was the daughter of the director of the local chapter of the Communist Party USA. In 1988, Shakur moved to Marin City, California, an impoverished community in the San Francisco Bay Area. In nearby Mill Valley, he attended Tamalpais High School, where he performed in several theater productions. Shakur did not graduate from high school, but later earned his GED. Shakur's second album, Strictly for My Niggaz, was released in February 1993. A critical and commercial success, it debuted at number 24 on the pop albums chart, the Billboard 200. An overall more hardcore album, it emphasizes Tupac's socio-political views and has a metallic production quality. The song, Last Words, features Ice Cube, co-writer of NWA's Fuck the Police, who in his own solo albums had newly gone militantly political, and gangsta rapper Ice-T, who in June 1992 had sparked controversy with his band Body Count's track, Cop Killer. The album carries the single, I Get Around, a party anthem featuring Digital Underground's Shock G and Money B, which became Shakur's breakthrough, reaching number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album also carries the optimistic compassion of another hit, Keep Ya Head Up, an anthem for women's empowerment, charting number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. The album's fourth and final hit, Papa's Song, peaked at number 87 on Billboard 200. The album was certified platinum by April 1995, with 1 million copies sold. That same year, Shakur starred in his second film role alongside Janet Jackson in John Singleton's romance film, Poetic Justice, and played a gangster called Birdie in the 1994 film Above the Rim. A growing film career, he was initially selected for a few films. Director Alan Hughes had cast Shakur as Sharif in the 1993 film Menace to Society but replaced him once Shakur assaulted him on set due to a discrepancy with the script. Nonetheless, in 2013, Hughes appraises that Shakur would have outshone the other actors, because he was bigger than the movie. Singleton initially cast Shakur in his 1995 film Higher Learning, but was fired because the studio would not finance the film following his arrest. He also had Shakur in the lead role as Mind in the 2001 film Baby Boy, a role played by Tyrese Gibson. Ultimately, after his death, the set design includes a Shakur mural in the protagonist's bedroom, and the film's score includes Shakur's song, Hail Mary. In 1993, while visiting Los Angeles, the notorious B.I.G. asked a local drug dealer to introduce him to Shakur and they quickly became friends. The pair would socialize when Shakur went to New York or B.I.G. to Los Angeles. During this period, at his own live shows, Shakur would call B.I.G. onto stage to rap with him and stretch. Reportedly, B.I.G. asked Shakur to manage him, whereupon Shakur advised him that Sean Combs would make him a star. Yet in the meantime, Shakur's lifestyle was comparatively lavish to B.I.G. who had not yet established himself. Shakur had a falling out with B.I.G. after Shakur was shot at Quad Studios in 1994. Shakur's third album, Me Against the World, was released while he was incarcerated in March 1995. It is now hailed as his magnum opus, and commonly ranks among the greatest, most influential rap albums. The album debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200 and sold 240,000 copies in its first week, setting a then record for highest first-week sales for a solo male rapper. The lead single, Dear Mama, was released in February 1995 with Old School as the B-side. It is the album's most successful single, topping the Hot Rap Singles chart, and peaking at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100. In July, it was certified platinum. It ranked number 51 on the year-end charts. The second single, So Many Tears, was released in June 1995, reaching number 6 on the Hot Rap Singles chart and number 44 on Hot 100. The final single, Temptations, was released in August 1995. It reached number 68 on the Hot 100, number 35 on the Hot R&B, Hip-Hop Singles and Tracks, and number 13 on the Hot Rap Singles. Several celebrities showed their support for Shakur by appearing in the music video for Temptations. Shakur won Best Rap Album at the 1996 Soul Train Music Awards. In 2001, it ranked 4th among his total albums in sales, with about 3 million copies sold in the U.S. While Shakur was imprisoned in 1995, his mother was about to lose her house. Shakur had his wife Keisha Morris contact Death Row Records founder Suge Knight in Los Angeles. Reportedly, Shakur's mother promptly received $15,000. After an August visit to Clinton Correctional Facility in northern New York State, Knight traveled southward to New York City to attend the second annual Source Awards ceremony. Meanwhile, an East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry was brewing between Death Row and Bad Boy Records. In October 1995, Knight visited Shakur in prison again and posted $1.4 million bond. Shakur returned to Los Angeles and joined Death Row with the appeal of his December 1994 conviction pending. Shakur's fourth album, All Eyes on Me, arrived on February 13, 1996. It was rap's first double album, meeting 2 of the 3 albums due in Shakur's contract with Death Row, and bore 5 singles. The album shows Shakur rapping about the gangsta lifestyle, leaving behind his previous political messages. With standout production, the album has more party tracks and often a triumphant tone. Music journalist Kevin Powell noted that Shakur, once released from prison, became more aggressive and seemed like a completely transformed person. As Shakur's second album to hit #1 on both the top R&B hip-hop albums chart and the pop albums chart, the Billboard 200, it sold 566,000 copies in its first week and was certified 5 times multi-platinum in April. The singles, How Do You Want It and California Love, reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Death Row released Shakur's diss track, Hit 'Em Up, as the non-album B-side to How Do You Want It. In this venomous tirade, the proclaimed bad boy killer threatens violent payback on all things Bad Boy, B.I.G., Sean Combs, Jr. Mafia, The Company, and on any in the East Coast rap scene, like rap duo Mobb Deep and rapper Chino XL, who allegedly had commented against Shakur about the dispute. Posthumously, All Eyes on Me won R&B, Soul or Rap Album of the Year at the 1997 Soul Train Music Awards, Favorite Rap Hip-Hop Artist at the 1997 American Music Awards, and the album was certified 9 times multi-platinum in June 1998, and 10 times in July 2014. At the time of his death, a 5th solo album was already finished, The Don Illuminati, The 7-Day Theory, under the stage name Machiavelli. It had been recorded during the summer of 1996 and released that year. The lyrics were written and recorded in 3 days, and mixing took another 4 days. In 2005, MTV.com ranked The 7-Day Theory at #9 among hip-hop's greatest albums ever, and by 2006 a classic album. Its singular poignance, through hurt and rage, contemplation and vendetta, resonate with many fans. According to George, Papa G. Price, Death Row Records' then Director of Public Relations, the album was meant to be underground, and was not intended for release before the artist was murdered. It peaked at #1 on Billboard's top R&B hip-hop albums chart and on the Billboard 200, with the second highest debut week sales total of any album that year. On June 15, 1999, it was certified 4 times multi-platinum. Soon after Shakur's death, 3 more films starring him were released, Bullet, 1996, Gridlock, 1997, and Gang Related, 1997. Later posthumous albums are archival productions. These albums are You Still Down? 1997, Greatest Hits, 1998, Still I Rise, 1999, Until the End of Time, 2001, Better Days, 2002, Loyal to the Game, 2004, Pac's Life, 2006, 141, Poetry Collection. Before and during his hip-hop career, Shakur wrote dozens of poems. Some of the most notable are, Can You See the Pride in the Panther, If I Fail, Family Tree, and The Rose That Grew from the Concrete. In 1993, Tupac played a character named Lucky in the film titled Poetic Justice alongside Janet Jackson. Poet and activist Maya Angelou, who worked with Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X during the civil rights movement, wrote the poems used in the 1993 film. In April 2022, handwritten poems written by Tupac when he was 11 years old were up for sale for $300,000 United States dollars but only sold for $90,000. The poems were for Jamal Joseph and 3 other Black Panther Party members while they were incarcerated at Leavenworth Prison. Even at his young age, Shakur's writing dealt with themes such as black liberation, mass incarceration, race, and masculinity. The poems feature a self-portrait of Shakur sleeping, pen in hand, dreaming of the Black Panthers being freed from prison, and signed with a heart and the phrase, Tupac Shakur, future freedom fighter. In October 2023, sexually explicit poems he wrote to Jada Pinkett Smith while in prison went public in the book Tupac Shakur, the authorized biography. Pinkett Smith celebrated Shakur's 50th birthday by showing an unreleased poem on Instagram called Lost Souls. According to Rolling Stone writer Andy Green, he was also a poet and activist who became one of his era's most revolutionary voices. Tupac had passion for theater and admiration of William Shakespeare. Years after Tupac's death, Nas said, I put Tupac beyond Shakespeare. Shakur became close friends with Jada Pinkett while attending the Baltimore School for the Arts. He helped Pinkett land her first movie role in the film Menace to Society, 1993. In turn, Pinkett secured Shakur a guest starring role on the sitcom A Different World in 1993. She appeared in his music videos, Keep Ya Head Up, and Temptations. She also came up with the concept for his California Love music video and had intended to direct it, but removed herself from the project. In 1995, Pinkett contributed $100,000 towards Shakur's bail as he awaited an appeal on his beep conviction. Pinkett later revealed that she turned down his marriage proposal while he was incarcerated at Rikers Island in 1995. Speaking about Pinkett, Shakur stated, "Jada is my heart. She will be my friend for my whole life. We'll be old together. Jada can ask me to do anything and she can have it." Pinkett said Shakur was one of my best friends. He was like a brother. It was beyond friendship for us. The type of relationship we had, you only get that once in a lifetime, and Shakur befriended Treach when they were both roadies on Public Enemy's tour in 1990. He made a cameo in Naughty by Nature's music video, Uptown Anthem, in 1992. Treach collaborated on Shakur's song, Five Deadly Venoms, and appeared in the music video for Shakur's Temptations. Treach was also a speaker at a public memorial service for Shakur in 1996. In 1993, during a police raid of Shakur's room at New York City's Parker Meridien Hotel, a videotape was confiscated which showed Shakur having beef with his then-girlfriend Desiree Smith. Officers were attempting to build their case against Shakur for the alleged sodomy of Ayanna Jackson. In 2022, Smith insisted she was neither underage nor intoxicated at the time of their tryst. In 2011, a beep featuring Shakur receiving beep from a groupie while rapping and dancing along to one of his own unreleased songs, was sold to a private collector. The video, which was filmed in 1993, also features rapper Money B from Digital Underground. That same year, on an interview with The Source, Shakur criticized record producer Quincy Jones for his interracial marriage to actress Peggy Lipton. Their daughter Rashida Jones responded with an irate open letter. Shakur later apologized to her sister Kadada Jones, whom he began dating in 1996. Shakur and Jones attended Men's Fashion Week in Milan and walked the runway together for a Versace fashion show. Jones was at their hotel in Las Vegas when Shakur was shot. After Shakur was shot in 1994, he recuperated at Jasmine Guy's home. They had met during his guest appearance on the sitcom A Different World in 1993. Guy appeared in his music video, Temptations, and later wrote his mother's 2004 biography, Afeni Shakur, Evolution of a Revolutionary. In his 1995 interview with Vibe magazine, Shakur listed Jada Pinkett, Jasmine Guy, Treach and Mickey Rourke among the people who were looking out for him while he was in prison. Shakur also mentioned that Madonna was a supportive friend. Madonna later revealed that they had dated in 1994. Shakur and Rourke formed a bond while filming the movie Bullet in 1994. Rourke recalled that Shakur was there for me during some very hard times. On April 29, 1995, Shakur married his girlfriend Keisha Morris, a pre-law student. Their marriage was annulled 10 months later. Shakur had friendships with other celebrities, including Mike Tyson, Chuck D, Jim Carrey, and Alanis Morissette. In April 1996, Shakur said that he, Morissette, Snoop Dogg, and Suge Knight were planning to open a restaurant together. On October 31, 1993, Shakur was arrested in Atlanta for shooting two off-duty police officers, brothers Mark Whitwell and Scott Whitwell. The Atlanta police claimed the shooting occurred after the brothers were almost struck by a car carrying Shakur while they were crossing the street with their wives. As they argued with the driver, Shakur's car pulled up and he shot the Whitwells in the buttocks and the abdomen. However, there are conflicting accounts that the Whitwells were harassing a black motorist and uttered racial slurs. According to some witnesses, Shakur and his entourage had fired in self-defense as Mark Whitwell shot at them first. Shakur was charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault. Mark Whitwell was charged with firing at Shakur's car and later with making false statements to investigators. Scott Whitwell admitted to possessing a gun he had taken from a Henry County police evidence room. Prosecutors ultimately dropped all charges against both parties. Mark Whitwell resigned from the force 7 months after the shooting. Both brothers filed civil suits against Shakur. Mark Whitwell's suit was settled out of court, while Scott Whitwell's $2 million lawsuit resulted in a default judgment entered against the rapper's estate in 1998. In November 1993, Shakur and 2 other men were charged in New York with sodomizing a woman in Shakur's hotel room. The woman, Ayanna Jackson, alleged that after she performed beep on Shakur at the public dance floor of a Manhattan nightclub, she went to his hotel room on a later day, when Shakur, record executive Jacques, Haitian Jack, Agnant, Shakur's road manager Charles Fuller and an unidentified 4th man apprehended and forced her to perform non-consensual beep on each of them. Shakur was also charged with illegal possession of a firearm as 2 guns were found in the hotel room. Interviewed on the Arsenio Hall show, Shakur said he was hurt that a woman would accuse me of taking something from her. as he had been raised in a female household and surrounded by women his whole life. On December 1, 1994, Shakur was acquitted of 3 counts of sodomy and the associated gun charges, but convicted of 2 counts of first-degree rape for forcibly touching the woman's buttocks in his hotel room. Jurors have said the lack of evidence stymied a sodomy conviction. Shakur's lawyer characterized the sentence as out of line with the groping conviction and the setting of bail at $3 million as inhumane. Shakur's accuser later filed a civil suit against Shakur seeking $10 million for punitive damages, which was subsequently settled. After Shakur had been convicted of BEEP, Jacques Agnan's case was separated and closed via misdemeanor plea without incarceration. A.J. Benza reported in New York Daily News Shakur's new disdain for Agnan, who Shakur theorized had set him up with the case. Shakur reportedly believed his accuser was connected to and had sexual relations with Agnan and James, henchman, Rosemond, whom he considered to be behind the 1994 Quad Studios shooting. Shakur was unable to post the $3 million bond to keep himself free until sentencing, so he surrendered himself to authorities at the Bellevue Hospital jail ward in New York City on December 23, 1994. At the time, he was still recovering from injuries he received on November 30, when he was shot 5 times and robbed at Quad Studios. In January 1995, Shakur was moved to the North Infirmary Command, NIC, on Rikers Island in the Bronx. On February 7, 1995, he was sentenced to 18 months to 4 plus half a year in prison by a judge who decried an act of brutal violence against a helpless woman. In March 1995, Shakur was transferred to Clinton Correctional Facility in Dannemora. While imprisoned, he began reading again, which he had been unable to do as his career progressed due to his marijuana and alcohol habits. Works such as The Prince by Italian philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli and The Art of War by Chinese military strategist Sun Tzu sparked Shakur's interest in philosophy of war and military strategy. On April 29, 1995, Shakur married his girlfriend Keisha Morris. The marriage was later annulled. While in prison, Shakur exchanged letters with celebrities such as Jim Carrey and Tony Danza, among others. He was also visited by Al Sharpton, who helped Shakur get released from solitary confinement. By October 1995, pending judicial appeal, Shakur was incarcerated in New York. On October 12, he bonded out of the maximum security Dannemora Clinton Correctional Facility in the process of appealing his conviction. Once Suge Knight, CEO of Death Row Records, arranged for the posting of his $1.4 million bond. On November 30, 1994, while in New York recording verses for a mixtape of Ron G., Shakur was repeatedly distracted by his beeper. Music manager Jimmy Henchman, Rosemond reportedly offered Shakur $7,000 to stop by Quad Studios, in Times Square, that night to record a verse for his client Little Sean. Shakur was unsure, but agreed to the session as he needed the cash to offset legal costs. He arrived with Stretch and 1 or 2 others. In the lobby, 3 men robbed and beat him at gunpoint. Shakur resisted and was shot. Shakur speculated that the shooting had been a setup. Against medical advice, Shakur checked out of Metropolitan Hospital Center a few hours after surgery and secretly went to the house of the actress Jasmine Guy to recuperate. The next day, Shakur arrived at a Manhattan courthouse bandaged in a wheelchair to receive the jury's verdict for his beep case. Shakur spent the next few weeks being cared for by his mother and a private doctor at Guy's home. The Fruit of Islam and former members of the Black Panther Party stood guard to protect him. In a 1995 interview with Vibe, Shakur accused Sean Combs, Jimmy Henchman, and the Notorious B.I.G., who were at Quad Studios at the time, among others, of setting up or being privy to the November 1994 robbery and shooting. The accusations were significant to the East-West Coast rivalry in hip-hop. In 1995, months after the robbery, Combs and B.I.G. released the track, Who Shot Ya?, which Shakur took as a mockery of his shooting and thought they could be responsible, so he released a diss song, Hit 'Em Up, in which he targeted B.I.G., Combs, their record label, Junior Mafia, and at the end of Hit 'Em Up, he mentions rivals Mobb Deep and Chino XL. In March 2008, Chuck Phillips, in the Los Angeles Times, reported on the 1994 ambush and shooting. The newspaper later retracted the article since it relied partially on FBI documents later discovered forged, supplied by a man convicted of fraud. In June 2011, convicted murderer Dexter Isaac, incarcerated in Brooklyn, issued a confession that he had been one of the gunmen who had robbed and shot Shakur at Henchman's order. On October 17, 1991, two Oakland Police Department officers stopped Shakur for jaywalking at a downtown intersection. According to Shakur, officers Alex Boyovic and Kevin Rogers asked him for his ID and pressed him about his name before choking him, throwing him to the ground and slamming his head on the concrete. Shakur filed a $10 million lawsuit against the officers for police brutality. The case was settled for about $43,000. It was later revealed that this incident was the onset of Shakur's autoimmune disease alopecia, which led him to shave his head bald. On April 5, 1993, charged with felonious assault, Shakur allegedly threw a microphone and swung a baseball bat at rapper Chauncey Wynn, of the group MAD, at a concert at Michigan State University. Shakur claimed the bat was a part of his show, that he never swung it, and that there was no criminal intent. Nonetheless, on September 14, 1994, Shakur pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor and was sentenced to 30 days in jail, 20 of them suspended on condition that he complete 35 hours of community service. Slated to star as Sharif in the 1993 Hughes Brothers film Menace to Society, Shakur was replaced by actor Vontae Sweet after allegedly assaulting one of the film's directors, Alan Hughes. In early 1994, Shakur served 15 days in jail after being found guilty of the assault. The prosecution's evidence included a Yo! MTV Raps interview in which Shakur boasted that he had beat up the director of Menace to Society. On August 22, 1992, in Marin City, Shakur performed outdoors at a festival. For about an hour after the performance, he signed autographs and posed for photos. A conflict broke out and Shakur allegedly drew a legally carried Colt Mustang but dropped it on the ground. Shakur claimed that someone with him then picked it up when it accidentally discharged. About 100 yards, 90 meters, away in a schoolyard, Kaid Walker Teal, a boy aged 6 on his bicycle, was fatally shot in the forehead. Police matched the bullet to a .38 caliber pistol registered to Shakur. His stepbrother Maurice Harding was arrested in suspicion of having fired the gun, but no charges were filed. Lack of witnesses stymied prosecution. In 1995, Kaid's mother filed a wrongful death suit against Shakur, which was settled for about $300,000 to $500,000. Civil rights activist and fierce rap critic C. Dolores Tucker sued Shakur's estate in federal court, claiming that lyrics in "How Do You Want It" and "Wanda Why They Call You Bitch" inflicted emotional distress, were slanderous, and invaded her privacy. The case was later dismissed. On the night of September 7, 1996, Shakur was in Paradise, Nevada, to attend the Bruce Seldon vs. Mike Tyson boxing match with Suge Knight at the MGM Grand. Afterward in the lobby, one of Knight's associates spotted Orlando Anderson, a South Side Compton Crip, and told Shakur he had tried to rob them earlier that year. The hotel surveillance footage shows the ensuing assault on Anderson. Shakur soon stopped by his hotel room and then headed with Knight to his death row nightclub, Club 662, in a black BMW 750L sedan, part of a larger convoy. At about 11 p.m. on Las Vegas Boulevard, bicycle-mounted police stopped the car for its loud music and lack of license plates. The plates were found in the trunk, and the car was released without a ticket. At about 11:15 p.m. at a stoplight, a white, four-door, late-model Cadillac sedan pulled up to the passenger side and an occupant rapidly fired into the car. Shakur was struck 4 times, once in the arm, once in the thigh, and twice in the chest, with one bullet entering his right lung. Shards hit Knight's head. Frank Alexander, Shakur's bodyguard, was not in the car at the time. He would say he had been tasked to drive the car of Shakur's girlfriend, Kadada Jones. Shakur was taken to the University Medical Center of Southern Nevada, where he was heavily sedated and put on life support. In the intensive care unit on the afternoon of September 13, 1996, Shakur died from internal bleeding. He was pronounced dead at 4:03 p.m. The official causes of death are respiratory failure and cardiopulmonary arrest associated with multiple gunshot wounds. Shakur's body was cremated the next day. Members of the Outlaws, recalling a line in his song, Black Jesus, although uncertain of the artist's attempt at a literal meaning, chose to interpret the request seriously, smoked some of his body's ashes after mixing them with cannabis. In 2002, investigative journalist Chuck Phillips, after a year of work, reported in the Los Angeles Times that Anderson, a South Side Compton Crip, having been attacked by Suge and Shakur's entourage at the MGM Hotel after the boxing match, had fired the fatal gunshots, but that Las Vegas Metropolitan Police had interviewed him only once, briefly, before his death in an unrelated shooting. Phillips's 2002 article also alleges the involvement of Christopher, Notorious B.I.G. Wallace and several within New York City's criminal underworld. Both Anderson and Wallace denied involvement, while Wallace offered a confirmed alibi. Music journalist John Leland, in the New York Times, called the evidence inconclusive. In 2011, via the Freedom of Information Act, the FBI released documents related to its investigation which described an extortion scheme by the Jewish Defense League, classified as a right-wing terrorist group by the FBI, that included making death threats against Shakur and other rappers, but did not indicate a direct connection to his murder. On July 18, 2023, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department executed a search warrant in connection with Shakur's murder. On September 29, 2023, the AP reported that Las Vegas Metropolitan Police had arrested a suspect, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, in Shakur's murder. Police had 2 months previously served a search warrant at his wife's home in the Las Vegas suburb of Henderson. Davis pleaded not guilty on November 2, 2023, in Las Vegas. As of February 2025, Davis's trial was set to start on February 9, 2026. As of January 2025, Davis remained incarcerated at the Clark County Detention Center. On September 3, 2025, Davis, who at this point in time still remained at the Clark County Detention Center, was ordered to also serve a 16 to 40-month prison sentence for a separate jailhouse fight-related conviction he received in April 2025. On November 18, 2025, Davis's trial would once again be delayed, this time to August 10, 2026. By this point in time, Davis, who was now serving a separate prison sentence for the jailhouse fight conviction, was now incarcerated at Nevada's High Desert State Prison. Shakur's music and philosophical outlook were deeply influenced by a wide range of American, African American, and global influences, including the Black Panther Party, black nationalism, egalitarianism, and the concept of liberty. Moreover, Shakur's artistic sensibilities were enriched by his passion for theater and admiration for the works of William Shakespeare. Notably, he honed his theatrical skills as a student at the Baltimore School for the Arts, where he delved into the psychological complexities inherent in intergang warfare and intercultural conflicts, reflecting themes explored in Shakespearean dramas. Tupacalypse Now, 1991, showcased his socially conscious perspective. Through powerful tracks like Brenda's Got a Baby, Trapped, and Part-Time Mother, Shakur addressed social injustice, poverty, and police brutality. In doing so, he contributed to the ongoing success of rap groups such as Boogie Down Productions, Public Enemy, X-Clan, and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, while establishing himself as one of the pioneering socially conscious rappers from the West Coast. Continuing his focus on the social challenges faced by African American people, Shakur's second album featured songs like The Streets Are Death Row and Last Words. Simultaneously, he showcased his compassionate side with the empowering anthem, Keep Ya Head Up, and his legendary intensity with the title track from the album Strictly for My Niggaz. Additionally, he paid homage to his former group Digital Underground by including them on the playful track, I Get Around. Throughout his career, Shakur's subsequent albums reflected a growing assertiveness in his approach. Shakur's body of work encompassed contrasting themes, including social inequality, injustice, compassion, playfulness, and hope. These elements continued to shape his artistry, exemplified by his explosive 1995 album Me Against the World. The release of All Eyes on Me in 1996 further solidified his reputation, with tracks like Ambitions as a Writer, I Ain't Mad at Cha, California Love, Life Goes On, and Picture Me Rollin' being hailed as classics by critics. Shakur described All Eyes on Me as a celebration of life, and the album achieved both critical acclaim and commercial success. According to Eminem, Tupac is the greatest songwriter of all time. Nas said in 2002, I put Tupac beyond Shakespeare. Singers can manipulate different parts of their body to create various sounds. For instance, the head voice involves singing high-pitched tones resonating from the head, while the chest voice utilizes the chest area. In the documentary Tupac Shakur, Thug Angel, Greg Shock G. Jacobs, one of Shakur's early producers, discusses how rappers also utilize different bodily areas to project their voices. According to him, Slick Rick rhymed from the nasal palate, Nas from the back of his throat, and Pac from the pit of his stomach, which is where his power came from. Shakur's influences stemmed from powerful orators like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Despite not being physically imposing, Shakur's voice carried immense weight and power, reminiscent of these influential speakers. Shakur was also known for his technique of stacking or layering vocals, adding depth and rawness to his voice. This approach, demonstrated notably on tracks like Dear Mama, from his 1995 album Me Against the World, involves overlaying multiple vocal lines to highlight rhythms and emphasize words and phrases. Mastering this technique requires precision to maintain flow and clarity, as heard in the lyrics, and even though I act crazy, I gotta thank the Lord that you made me, where Shakur's voice transitions from full to husky, underscoring the emotional depth of the lyrics. Despite its difficulty, Shakur's background in jazz, poetry, and theater endowed him with exceptional rhythm control, enabling him to layer vocals seamlessly while preserving cohesion and flow. Shakur is considered one of the greatest and most influential rappers of all time. He was listed as one of the greatest artists of all time by Rolling Stone. He is widely credited as an important figure in hip-hop culture, and his prominence in pop culture in general has been noted. Formerly About.com, while ranking him 5th among the greatest rappers, nonetheless notes, Tupac Shakur is the most influential hip-hop artist of all time. Even in death, Tupac remains a transcendental rap figure. Yet to some, he was a father figure, who, said rapper YG, makes you want to be better, at every level. In 2023, Billboard ranked Tupac at number 4 among the top 50 rappers of all time. AllMusic's Stephen Thomas Erlewine described Shakur as the unlikely martyr of gangsta rap, with Shakur paying the ultimate price of a criminal lifestyle. Shakur was described as one of the top 2 American rappers in the 1990s, along with Snoop Dogg. The online rap magazine All Hip Hop held a 2007 roundtable at which New York rappers Cormega, citing tour experience with New York rap duo Mobb Deep, commented that B.I.G. ran New York, but Shakur ran America. Shakur emerged as a celebrated artist, earning recognition for his astonishingly prolific output and unwavering commitment to his craft. According to Rolling Stone writer Andy Green, he was also a poet and activist who became one of his era's most revolutionary voices. In 2017, American rapper Snoop Dogg called Tupac the greatest rapper of all time during his Rock and Roll Hall of Fame tribute. In 2021, Saweetie told Complex that Tupac was the greatest rapper that ever lived. According to British writer Rob Marriott, he deemed the act of tying a bandana into rabbit ears as one of the most distinctive and instantly recognizable style choices in the world of hip-hop. Regarded as a sex symbol, his unique style helped shape the fashion landscape of the 1990s and continues to influence artists and fashion enthusiasts to this day. In 2010, writing Rolling Stone magazine's entry on Shakur at number 86 among the 100 greatest artists, New York rapper 50 Cent appraised, "Every rapper who grew up in the 90s owes something to Tupac. People either try to emulate him in some way, or they go in a different direction because they didn't like what he did. But whatever you think of him, he definitely developed his own style. He didn't sound like anyone who came before him." According to music journalist Chuck Phillips, Shakur had helped elevate rap from a crude street fad to a complex art form, setting the stage for the current global hip-hop phenomenon. Phillips writes, "The slaying silenced one of modern music's most eloquent voices, a ghetto poet whose tales of urban alienation captivated young people of all races and backgrounds. Via numerous fans perceiving him, despite his questionable conduct, as a martyr, the downsizing of martyrdom cheapens its use," academic Michael Eric Dyson concedes. But Dyson adds, some, or even most, of that criticism can be conceded without doing damage to Tupac's martyrdom in the eyes of those disappointed by more traditional martyrs. In 2014, Vet explained that his confounding mixture of ladies' man, thug, revolutionary and poet has forever altered our perception of what a rapper should look like, sound like and act like. In 50 Cent, Ja Rule, Lil Wayne, newcomers like Freddie Gibbs and even his friend-turned-rival B.I.G., it's easy to see that Pac is the most copied MC of all time. There are murals bearing his likeness in New York, Brazil, Sierra Leone, Bulgaria and countless other places. He even has statues in Atlanta and Germany. Quite simply, no other rapper has captured the world's attention the way Tupac did and still does. More simply, his writings, published after his death, inspired rapper YG to return to school and get his GED. In 2020, former California Senator and former Vice President Kamala Harris called Shakur the best rapper alive, which she explained as being because West Coast girls think Tupac lives on. According to writer Kevin Powell, he deserves to be put in the same category as Bob Dylan, Bob Marley, as John Lennon, in terms of his global impact. Tupac is regarded as one of the most influential artists in music and popular culture in general and an icon of activism. Palestinian rapper Tamer Nafar, leader and a founding member of DAM, became passionate about hip-hop by listening to Tupac, saying, "The imagery in Shakur's videos was similar to our reality in Lod." In 2006, on the 10th anniversary of Tupac Shakur's passing, his ashes were laid to rest in Soweto. Shakur's mother Afeni transported them to the birthplace of his ancestors, and conducted a memorial service in what's considered as one of the most renowned South African townships. Afeni Shakur explained that Soweto had been selected due to its significance as the birthplace of the South African struggle for democracy and against apartheid. The city of Johannesburg Metropolitan Municipality donated a 5-acre plot of undeveloped land in the Zola area of Soweto to build a memorial honoring Shakur. A portion of the land was designated to be transformed into a park for the benefit of local children, as well as aimed at promoting environmental education, pathways, orphanages, bridges, skateboard ramps and a golf range, while plans also included the construction of an amphitheater and a museum showcasing South African music and arts. The project was funded by Johannesburg city authorities and the Tupac Amaru Shakur Foundation. The memorial was hosted by South African musician and actor Zola 7. Singer Macy Gray and members of the Outlaws were amongst the attendees who paid their respects. In 1997, Shakur's mother founded the Shakur Family Foundation. Later renamed the Tupac Amaru Shakur Foundation, or TASF, it launched with a stated mission to provide training and support for students who aspire to enhance their creative talents. The TASF sponsors essay contests, charity events, a performing arts day camp for teenagers, and undergraduate scholarships. In June 2005, the TASF opened the Tupac Amaru Shakur Center for the Arts, or TASCA, in Stone Mountain, Georgia. It closed in 2015. In 1997, the University of California, Berkeley, offered a course led by a student titled History 98, Poetry and History of Tupac Shakur. In April 2003, Harvard University co-sponsored the symposium, All Eyes on Me, Tupac Shakur and the Search for the Modern Folk Hero, where Shakur's influence as both an artist and an activist was analyzed. The papers presented cover his ranging influence from entertainment to sociology. Calling him a thug N-word intellectual, an organic intellectual, English scholar Mark Anthony Neal assessed his death as leaving a leadership void amongst hip-hop artists. As this walking contradiction helps, Neal explained, make being an intellectual accessible to ordinary people. Tracing Shakur's mythical status, Murray Foreman discussed him as OG, or ostensibly gone, with fans using digital mediums, resurrecting Tupac as an ethereal life force. Music scholar Emmett Price, calling him a black folk hero, traced his persona to Black American folklore's tricksters, which, after abolition, evolved into the urban bad man. Yet in Shakur's terrible sense of urgency, Price identified instead a quest to unify mind, body, and spirit. According to Price, Tupac had surpassed the legacies of John Coltrane and Mahalia Jackson within the tradition of black music. In 2012, the Norwegian University of Oslo organized the course, Tupac, Hip-Hop og Kulturhistorie, Tupac, Hip-Hop and Cultural History. As Knut Åkrust, Norwegian professor and academic scholar of cultural studies at the University of Oslo, puts it, Tupac Amaru Shakur, 1971–1996, is one of the most famous and controversial representatives of hip-hop culture. He has become an icon with saint status far beyond his fans. References to him and his message appear all over the world, from Barack Obama's slogan about changes to Palestinians and Israelis longing for peace in the Middle East, to the people of Groruddalen who want their experiences to be taken on board serious. The course highlights how a single person can fit into a wider network of cultural models and how a local storytelling tradition has become an international cultural phenomenon. Jeffrey Ogbonna Green Ogbar, professor of history and popular music at the University of Connecticut, described Shakur as one of the most iconic and influential music artists of the 20th century, and also a politically conscious activist voice for Black America. In 2005, Death Row released on DVD, Tupac, Live at the House of Blues, his final recorded live performance, an event on July 4, 1996. In August 2006, Tupac Shakur Legacy, an interactive biography, by Jamal Joseph, arrived with previously unpublished family photographs, intimate stories, and over 20 detachable copies of his handwritten song lyrics, contracts, scripts, poetry, and other papers. In 2006, the Shakur album Pac's Life was released and, like the previous, was among the recording industry's most popular releases. In 2008, his estate made about $15 million. On April 15, 2012, at the Coachella Music Festival, rappers Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre joined as Shakur, hologram. Although the media referred to the technology as a hologram, technically it was a projection created with the Musion eyeliner, and, as a partly virtual trio, performed the Shakur songs, Hail Mary, and Two of America's Most Wanted. There were talks of a tour, but Dre refused. Meanwhile, the Greatest Hits album, released in 1998, and which in 2000 had left the pop albums chart, the Billboard 200, returned to the chart and reached number 129, while also other Shakur albums and singles drew sales gains. The documentary film Tupac Resurrection was released in November 2003. It was nominated for Best Documentary at the 2005 Academy Awards. In 2014, the play Holler If Ya Hear Me, based on Shakur's lyrics, played on Broadway, but, among Broadway's worst-selling musicals in recent years, ran only 6 weeks. In development since 2013, a Shakur biopic, All Eyes on Me, began filming in Atlanta in December 2015. It was released on June 16, 2017, on Shakur's 46th birthday, albeit to generally negative reviews. In August 2019, a docuseries directed by Alan Hughes, Outlaw, The Saga of Afeni and Tupac Shakur, was announced. In 2002, Shakur was inducted into the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. In 2004, Shakur was among the honorees at the first Hip Hop Honors. In 2006, Shakur's close friend and classmate Jada Pinkett Smith donated $1 million to their high school alma mater, the Baltimore School for the Arts, and named the new theater in his honor. In 2021, Pinkett Smith honored Shakur's 50th birthday by releasing a never-before-seen poem she had received from him. In 2009, drawing praise, the Vatican added Changes, a 1998 posthumous track, to its online playlist. On June 23, 2010, the Library of Congress added Dear Mama to the National Recording Registry, the third rap song. In 2015, the Grammy Museum opened an exhibition dedicated to Shakur. In his first year of eligibility, Shakur was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on April 7, 2017. In January 2022, the exhibition Tupac Shakur, Wake Me When I'm Free opened at the Canvas at L.A. Live in Los Angeles. Section of MacArthur Boulevard named Tupac Shakur Way. On May 16, 2023, Oakland City Council voted to name the section of MacArthur Boulevard between Grand Avenue and Van Buren Avenue, Tupac Shakur Way. On June 7, 2023, Shakur received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. His half-sister, Sakiwa, Set Shakur, accepted the award in his honor. 2002. Forbes magazine ranked Shakur at 10th among top-earning dead celebrities. 2003. MTV's viewers voted Shakur the greatest MC. 2005. Shakur was voted number 1 on Vibe's online poll of Top 10 Best of All Time. 2006. MTV staff placed him second on its list of the greatest MCs of all time. 2012. The Source magazine ranked him number 5 among the top 50 lyricists. 2007. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame placed All Eyes on Me at number 90 and Me Against the World at number 170. 2010. Rolling Stone magazine placed Shakur at number 86 among the 100 greatest artists. 2020. All Eyes on Me was ranked number 436 on Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest albums of all time. 2023. Billboard ranked Shakur at number 4 of the top 50 rappers.